Okay.
All right, so this is The Unfortunate Truth, Coach Ed Engeron, by Christian Gladney, Ellie Ramirez, Elliott, Lynd, and Charles Brady.
So, for our presentation, we decided to take a look into the critical analysis of a famous coach or leader in pro sports. And we decided to choose Ed Orgeron, who's a former head coach for LSU. And we wanted to look into what was the cause behind his firing from LSU, with addressing the serious allegations and what really happened. So, after the firing of former head coach Les Miles, who allegedly, but was later deemed to actually have done, he inappropriately behavior with female students and student workers. So Ed Orgeron took over the reins as an interim head coach as his label. And under Orgeron's leadership, the Tigers would go on a historic championship run, going undefeated and winning the national championship in 2019. And many sports enthusiasts around the sports industry believe that this was the best college football team ever. However, after 2 consecutive underwhelming seasons, Orgeron was fired by the athletic department at LSU. Why was there such a drastic shift in wanting him to be the coach of the team? One example of one of the allegations according to Ed Orgeron, according to thesportingnews.com, a high-profile Title IX investigation into the LSU program found out that former running back Darius Guice, who set lots of records for the LSU football team in rushing yards, touchdowns, it came out that he apparently sexually assaulted and allegedly raped 2 different females. And when Orgeron was told about it, he did absolutely nothing about it.
So we need to know why it's an issue. Coach O was from LaRose, Louisiana. He was a popular coach from Louisiana, and the state loved him. One of the greatest college football teams of all time. In 2020, Coach O and LSU won a national championship. Those around him say that this championship changed him, and he lost track of who he was. He had reportedly become a distraction after divorcing his wife of 23 years. His legacy at LSU is in jeopardy after Title IX investigations on him and the university found violations in 2021. The Athletic reported that Orgeron made advances on a woman at a gas station, who then told him she was married. He then responded, "Why does that matter?" The woman ended up being a high-ranking official, the wife of a high-ranking LSU official. Also, Coach O denied being told that Guice had sexually harassed multiple women and continued to defend Guice. Coach O asked the woman to forgive Guice for the sexual harassment in 2017, saying that Guice was a troubled kid and that he was only joking. Orgeron repeatedly failed to report the harassment and abuse he had known about. He was called to testify but failed to show up.
Alright, 2 more things on why it's an issue. Ed Orgeron basically said before he bought his buyout in 2021 for $17 million, he had said, "I'm always going to appreciate my time here," and he had no regrets. But another big issue would be saying that Representative Amy Freeman said that if her daughter was applying to LSU right now, she would not be going. And there were basically 2 sides of perspectives that many people believed in this situation involving Coach Ed Orgeron. From a football standpoint and, a coaching perspective, Coach Ed Orgeron wasn't always half that bad. He went on to lead the Tigers in 2016 to 2021 to a 49-17 record. And he also led the Tigers to that 15-0 national championship in 2019. He was a great recruiter for all the players, and he was really an amazing motivator. But on the other side of the perspective, many people also believe that it was probably the right time to let Coach O go. And after the championship run in the following 2 seasons, LSU would finish with a record of 9-8. And after losing all of his coaching staff, he didn't really bring in the right people, and it wasn't. And due to losing track of who he was and his involvement in the Guice allegation, things weren't looking that good for Coach O. And in 2021, LSU and Coach O decided to part ways, and for these reasons, on both sides of the perspective, it was probably the right move.
So from a sociological standpoint, how can we analyze this issue? So there's two perspectives. We're going to start off with the institution perspective. So the athletics department at Louisiana State University decided it was in their best interest to move on from Ed Orgeron. Why? Well, after 2 consecutive years of finishing underwhelming in the conference, towards the bottom, actually, the controversy Orgeron sparked. Oh no. Hang on. There we go. So with the controversy that he sparked off the field, it made it kind of easier to make that decision. With LSU being a powerhouse and getting a lot of money and revenue from their football program, these distractions and losing records, LSU's football team began losing revenue, potential recruits even, and more likely than not, sponsors and people advertising at their stadium. The next perspective would be personal perspective, whether it be the football players, other coaching staffs, and inside the locker room, Orgeron completely lost the trust with his players and that connection that he originally had. His off-the-field antics resulted in a loss of respect and kind of saw him differently. And these broken relationships were deemed unfixable. And to rekindle that brotherhood that LSU football offers to not only the players, but the players' families and friends, a change needed to be made. And that resulted in the firing of Orgeron.
All right, so what do we think? Obviously, there's a bunch of different perspectives on whether Coach O was really a good person or really not, based off of, the way that he coached and the way that he acted off the field and on the field. But our first, pretty much big standpoint is about Darius, guys. Just the way that he handled the allegations that we've talked about in the previous slides were obviously unprofessional and very degrading to women all around the world, especially with the amount of abuse and just allegations being thrown at men and them getting away with it from a women's perspective, especially just kind of deems, that women are unvalued in a sports perspective, which we've talked about a lot in class too. In his previous years of coaching, he's also done a bunch of things, such as like the Darius guys allegations related to that. And just a big point for us is public image versus behind closed doors. Like, for example, Coach O did a lot of ads whenever COVID came out, saying like, go get vaccinated in his little voice, and LSU fans all over, and especially like just even football fans, loved seeing that, and it definitely motivated more people to go and get vaccinated, which was a good thing. But behind closed doors, he wasn't acting in that, leadership standpoint and really setting a good example for not just his teammates and his other fellow coaching staff, but just players in general and people in the public eye. And in conclusion, we all as a team, especially me, just kind of think that Coach O really did fall off with his antics off and on the field. And I will forever be grateful for the national championship that he coached us to and led us to in 2019. But in conclusion, we just didn't really think that he was, that great of a person and deserving of the spotlight in the end. So now I'm going to kind of go into like what the fans think. These are just a couple different perspectives regarding, Coach O's behavior over the past couple years regarding a bunch of different incidents that he had in public eye. One fan said, "I've been an LSU fan for 37 years, and now I have to let that go too. Thanks for ruining it, LSU. I'll take my country over sports any day of the week. I had a great deal of respect for Coach O before this video. Now, profanities. He's a sellout. Done." That was in regards of a video that was posted about Coach O still being married, and it was a video of him trying to riz or get girls on the beach that were clearly probably too young for him to be flirting with at his age. This is another one from another fan that says, "Coach Ed Orgeron trending for folks wanting him to be fired from LSU because he's losing instead of folks wanting him to be fired for mishandling rape cases by football players was definitely on my bingo card." Basically just meaning that she had the perspective of a lot of people saying that they wanted Coach O to be fired because he wasn't doing well in football rather than not being fired for handling rape allegations incorrectly. And then this is another fan's perspective just saying dude is literally just living his best life, just kind of saying, well, he's a great football coach, and he's just kind of doing whatever he wants to, and that's great for him, which we'll leave that perspective to him. And lastly, we don't want politics in our football. We will turn you off. You are warned. that's another one kind of going along with Coach O living his best life and just saying that they want to just watch football, not have to deal with anything that's going on off camera. And yeah, these are our sources. Thank you very much.